Hey everyone, Jacqueline Davison here. Decided to do a update on some of my older videos where I talk about having Hashimoto's and hypothyroidism after I gave birth to my first daughter, and I kind of wanted to fill you guys in on what happened after I had my second daughter. Now, in between the gap period before I got pregnant with my second and after I had my first, during that period of time, I got as healthy as I possibly could. I started taking um, really good supplements that were really dense in nutrition. I started eating the best foods I possibly could put into my body. I decreased my sugar and my alcohol content for a really long time. I even took a break from caffeine. I was gluten-free for a little over a year, I would say, year and a half. I went gluten-free because everything I'd read about Hashimoto's said that gluten causes your immune system to attack your thyroid because there's a similarity in the molecular structure. So I took a break from that. During my second pregnancy, I was just so hungry, and we were moving around a lot and traveling to Florida, and it was really difficult to stay full without eating gluten. So after a long healing process and after really thinking it through, I decided to start eating gluten again. During that time, I did not see any of the negative effects on my body that I would normally have seen. So I was excited about that. I did not want to keep eating gluten like all the time. Before, I used to have it like for breakfast and lunch and dinner and had a gluten all throughout the day. I decided to try to make my meals more balanced and still eat a lot of gluten-free products, but not be extremely strict about it. Now, that's just for me. I know a lot of the Hashimoto's autoimmune books advise people to stay away from dairy and gluten and all of these foods. And for me, doing that forever just seemed like just too much. Like it was too rigid, it was too strict for me. Wanted to live my life eating like balance, more of what I want, but not having to be so strict. But when it does come to dairy, I do have to limit my dairy intake because I do notice negative effects. I do notice inflammation after I have dairy, and it's something that I just don't need. So I do limit myself from dairy. I don't seem to notice the same effects with gluten. So I welcomed gluten back in during my second pregnancy and still tried to keep my pregnancy as healthy as possible, although I was more lenient on the sugar, which I had stayed away from for a really long time. I literally cut out added sugar for like 6 months. So I really gave my body a lot of time, I felt, to heal and to really reduce the inflammation in my body and to start living a healthier lifestyle. My goal now is to be more balanced. So after I had my second daughter, Sailor, there was a lot of shift in hormones. I did start noticing problems about 4 months after I had her. I noticed my goiter starting to swell again. I went and had my numbers checked, and it turns out they were going the opposite spectrum. So many people diagnosed with Hashimoto's will go from hyperthyroidism, hypothyroidism, and they can go back and forth. So what does this mean? Well, the doctor at the time who saw me, who tested my numbers, did not think it was necessary to give me any medication at the time. The medication for hypothyroidism is not recommended during breastfeeding, which I am doing. So I'm not on any thyroid medication right now. I'm actually not on any medication anymore right now. I haven't been on medication for at least a year, I would say now. It's been a long time. So yeah, I haven't been on medication for around a year or so. And I feel pretty well. My biggest struggles is feeling tired. I still struggle with tired during the middle of the day, feeling fatigued, but I also have a 7-month-old daughter who does not sleep through the night, and I haven't had more than a few hours of sleep in over 7 months. So I'm sure that the sleep situation is throwing off my thyroid. but I don't see it as something like urgent where it's like, oh my gosh, there's something wrong with you and you need to do this, you need to do that. It's normal stuff that we need to give our body, which is rest and sleep and dense nutrients and vitamins and eating right, eating a balanced diet. I'm just not the type of person who believes that I can live off of an extremely strict diet for the rest of my life. What I choose to do is listen to my body personally. It has negative reactions when I eat certain foods, and that's how I know to stay away from that. So my goal is to live a fulfilled life, to not let my disease or disorder control me, to not let it consume my thoughts, to not be obsessed with it, to just live my life. And for the most part, I think everything's going pretty well. My goiter has gone down a bit from where it was. But honestly, if I look at pictures from when I was younger, I always had a little bit larger thyroid glands. So I don't know if it will ever actually get smaller than this. I don't believe it has ever been smaller than that. And it's very prominent on me with my long, skinny neck. So yeah, and wanted to let you guys know that I did release my newest book on Amazon. It's an ebook called The Hypothyroid Mother. The Hypothyroid Mother. So it's a little bit different. It's not your normal book. It's not organized that way. It's a compilation of a lot of my blog posts and what I did during my diagnosis, after my diagnosis, the feelings I experienced, the symptoms I experienced when I found out, how that made me feel, and what type of action I took to take better care of my health. So I'm hoping that you guys will find something in there that will be able to help you along your own journey to healing. I truly believe that healing is full-centered, holistic, mind, body, soul. I believe that we need to address all of these issues, not just issues from a physical food standpoint, which is a lot of people try to treat themselves with just food or just medication. And there's so much more to it than that. And a lot of it has to do with stress and our thought processes and our emotions. Our emotions are huge. And our genes, of course. But yeah, so I hope you guys heard something helpful today. And if you guys have any questions, please post them below and let me know what you think of the new book. Thanks, guys.